Hello, I'm Moira Alderson with the BBC News. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says more than 60 people have been killed by Israeli strikes in the past 24 hours. 10 were killed and dozens wounded at a food centre in Jabalia. The UN Human Rights Office has said it's appalled at the desperate situation in North Gaza. Wira Davis reports.
For more than a week, Israeli forces have been conducting heavy strikes against parts of northern Gaza, which, says Israel, are focused on remaining Hamas positions. But hundreds of people, including many civilians, have been killed in the attacks. The UN said that 10 people were killed this morning while waiting at a food distribution centre in the Jabalia refugee camp. The UN Human Rights Office has now accused Israel of trapping tens of thousands of Palestinians, including civilians, in their homes and shelters, with no access to food or other life-sustaining necessities. The strongly worded statement also says Israeli troops have fired on civilians trying to flee the area, which could amount to a war crime. There's been no official response yet from Israel.
Meanwhile, the Lebanese Red Cross says 18 people have been killed in an Israeli attack on the north of Lebanon. The strike hit the Christian-majority region of Aitu. Our correspondent in Beirut, Jonathan Head, says local residents didn't hear a missile, only witnessed a massive explosion.
Videos that they posted on social media afterwards revealed a really appalling scene of destruction. Smashed up cars, great grey smoke and ash everywhere, and bodies lying all over the village, injured people as well, and really dreadful damage. And it's left to the Lebanese to wonder why this village, this very small, notably Christian village. It's quite a historic village up in the mountains there. But this is a campaign that Israel is still waging to destroy all of Hezbollah's capacity to fight back.
The first group of migrants intercepted in international waters is being taken to Italian processing centres based in Albania. The two countries signed the deal under a controversial plan to reduce arrivals from Africa by sea. India has withdrawn its ambassador and other diplomats from Canada. They'd been named as persons of interest in an investigation into the murder last year of a Sikh separatist. Camilla Mills has this report.
The Foreign Ministry in Delhi rejected the allegations as preposterous imputations and said they were part of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's political agenda. Relations between Delhi and Ottawa have been strained since Mr. Trudeau said Canada had credible evidence linking Indian agents to the assassination of the Sikh separatist leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Canadian police called his killing a targeted attack, and the government said the allegations of Indian involvement were based on Canadian intelligence. India has repeatedly said Canada has not shared any evidence to back its claim.
World News from the BBC. The EU has imposed further sanctions against 5 individuals and 1 group accused of destabilising Moldova as part of efforts to counter Russian influence in the region. This comes amid ongoing fears of Russian attacks against the small state which borders Ukraine. Moldova, an EU candidate country, has accused Moscow-backed groups of trying to topple its pro-Western government. As hundreds of refugees from Sudan pour over the border into Chad every day, the Duchess of Edinburgh has called for more attention to be focused on the humanitarian situation there. Sophie, the wife of King Charles's younger brother Edward, has been to the border and said the catastrophe there can't be managed by organisations whose budgets have been cut. More than 600,000 Sudanese have fled the war and are living in Chad. The Nobel Prize in Economics has been awarded to 3 academics who tried to explain why some nations are rich and others poor. They believe that countries with widespread political participation tend to be richer, while societies ruled by small elites are likely to be less well off. Ollie Delpatanson reports.
Simon Johnson and Darren Achemelu are both professors of economics at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. They, along with James Robinson from the University of Chicago, have been recognised for their work on how institutions shape prosperity, particularly in nations plagued by corruption and dictatorship. The Nobel Committee highlighted their findings on the historical roots of weak institutions in low-income countries.
A spacecraft is due to blast off from Florida shortly to travel to Europa to study the Jupiter moon and look for possible signs of life. The planet may have a vast ocean under its icy surface with twice as much water as Earth. This could contain chemicals that are components of simple life. That's the latest world news from the BBC.